Sovereignty. It's one of those words in American civics that's incredibly powerful and, let's be honest, pretty misunderstood. For some people, it's the absolute bedrock of our system. For others, it sounds like some kind of fringe theory. So what's the real story? Well, we're going to cut through all that noise and go straight to the sources: the Constitution, actual acts of Congress, and some landmark Supreme Court rulings.
And this is the central question we're diving into. Is sovereignty a legitimate, foundational principle of American government? Or has it been kind of hijacked as a slogan for movements that are way out there on the fringe? The confusion here isn't just some academic debate. It actually gets in the way of understanding how our system is supposed to work.
So, to get to the bottom of this, we've got to figure out why this one little word sparks so much debate. And the reason is, its meaning has been pulled into two totally different directions. Okay, so here's where the trouble really starts. Over the years, the word has been twisted and used to mean things like you're completely exempt from the law, or you're immune to the courts, ideas that have absolutely zero basis in American law. But, and this is super important, just because the word has been distorted doesn't mean we throw it out. We just have to find its original constitutional meaning. And to do that, we have to go back to the very beginning.
Let's rewind the clock. When the framers of the Constitution were putting this whole thing together, they were building something brand new, and was based on an idea that, for its time, was truly radical: that the ultimate authority, the final say, doesn't come from a king, it doesn't come from a government, it comes from somewhere else entirely.
And there it is, the first three words of the whole document: we the people. This wasn't just some poetic intro, It was a deliberate, totally revolutionary declaration of where the power comes from. It says right from the jump that the people themselves are the source of all authority, and they are only delegating certain limited powers to the government that they are creating.
This idea has a name: popular sovereignty. It's a simple but really profound concept. Government exists to serve the people, not the other way around. We the people are the source of all political power. We just, lend some of it to the government to act on our behalf. So any authority the government has is delegated, and it's definitely limited.
Now you might be thinking, okay, that's a nice idea from the 18th century, but does it really hold up today? And the answer is a big yes. It's not just some old theory. As we're about to see, this principle has a clear and unbroken history in American law, and it's been affirmed over and over and over again by the Supreme Court itself.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It's so consistent. All the way back in 1793, the Supreme Court says, plain as day, the people are the sovereign of this country. Then you jump forward almost a century, to 1886, and the court is just as clear: sovereignty itself remains with the people. And it's not some dusty old idea. Even as recently as 2014, the court was explaining that this whole setup exists to secure the freedom of the individual. This is a continuous thread woven through our entire legal history.
And hey, it wasn't just the courts talking this way. The people's own elected representatives in Congress have used this exact language, and they used it in a really positive, civic way to describe what it means to be an American citizen.
Get this. Back in 1940, Congress passed an actual federal law, creating something called I Am an American Day. And what was its purpose? According to the law, it was to prepare the sovereign citizens of our nation for their responsibilities. This wasn't some fringe group talking. This was the United States Congress formally writing into law the idea that citizens are sovereign. All right, so now that we have this historical and legal foundation, we can finally do it. We can separate the myth from the reality. Let's clear up all the confusion and nail down what sovereignty is and what it absolutely is not.
So on the left, you've got the myth, this pretty dangerous idea that being sovereign means you can just ignore laws or you're immune to courts. That is a complete distortion. But on the right, you have the constitutional reality. Sovereignty simply means that political power starts with the people, that government's authority is limited and delegated, and that our rights are inherent. We're born with them. They're not a gift from the state.
Okay, so why does this all matter? Why is it so important to get this right? Well, because understanding this principle correctly is absolutely essential if we're going to have any kind of healthy conversation about our government, our rights, and, our responsibilities as citizens.
So when someone brings up popular sovereignty in its proper constitutional sense, you've got to understand this: it is not a slogan to reject the law.
It is not some kind of loophole to get out of your obligations.
No, they are appealing to a core principle of American government, the very foundation our entire Constitution is built on.
And that principle, as we've just seen, isn't based on somebody's opinion or a wild theory.
It's grounded in and affirmed by the actual text of the Constitution, by formal acts of Congress, and by centuries of consistent Supreme Court rulings. I mean, these are the pillars of our legal system.
So at the end of the day, recognizing popular sovereignty isn't a radical idea. It's not anti-government. It's just basic American civics. It's understanding the fundamental idea that in our system, the people are in charge. And that leaves us with one final and I think crucial question. If the ultimate political power truly rests with us, with you and me, how does that change how we see our role as citizens? Does it mean we have more than just a right to vote? Does it mean we have a deep responsibility to be informed, to be engaged, and to be vigilant guardians of the authority that we have temporarily loaned to our government? That's definitely something to think about.